For me and my generation, and you get the sense that I like popular culture, the watershed moment came apropos of this season by way of a Hanukkah song sung unexpectedly in 1994 on Saturday Night Live by the very funny and often crude comedian Adam Sandler. Those of you who watch the show, he was the Pete Davidson of his day. Sandler, who is Jewish, began his weekend update skit by explaining how tough it was to grow up in an America living as a Jewish kid during Christmas. In response, he offers a song referred to as the Hanukkah song, with nearly every lyric rhyming with Hanukkah, harmonica, Veronica, or some combination, as Sandler outs a Rolodex of Jewish American celebrity. In his own words, David Lee Roth lights the menorah, so do James Caan, Kirk Douglas, and the late Dinah Shore. My favorite stanza is, guess who eats together at the Carnegie Deli? Bowser from Sha Na Na and Arthur Fonzarelli. Paul Newman's half Jewish, Goldie Hawn's half too. Put them together, what a fine looking Jew. I still remember how proud I felt when a Saturday Night Live comedian so publicly identified as a Jew and proudly called out other Jewish celebrities. Looking back on it, though, the most important thing about the song may have been just how it reflected the changing categories of being Jewish were, and a revolution in who does and who doesn't get to assign someone the label of a Jew. Jews by association, by marriage, and fractional Jews. The reveal of the Sandler song was that it announced that the decision of who is and who isn't a Jew isn't made by some bearded rabbi, but by other means, in this case, popular culture. The conventional definitions and authority structures are in flux. Jews, like everyone else, are now modern families. In the words of Professor Shaul Magid, religion is a product of voluntarism and inventiveness as opposed to inherited tradition. Or as the title of another recent survey on American Jewry put it, Grande soy vanilla latte with cinnamon, no foam, Jewish identity and community in a time of unlimited choice. A time when identity is by way of consent, not descent, a time neither Zangwill or Callan could have ever imagined. You can trace the transformations of American Jewry by popular culture, intermarriage rates, or otherwise, but it all leads to the same conclusion. Somewhere along the way, Jews have become white people. My oldest daughter is applying to college right now. It's remarkable to me that the fact of her Jewishness never comes up. One's Jewish identity or religion at all has been replaced by what is called the ethno-racial pentagon, the 5 options one is given to define oneself: Black, white, Asian, Latino, and Native American. While the question as to why these 5 categories and not another 5 could be debated, one thing is for sure: being Jewish or Christian or Muslim is not one of them. Jewishness is no longer the distinguishing marker it once was. Jews no longer have a legal minority status. I grew up with stories about my grandparents who, despite graduating first in their class, couldn't get jobs because they were Jewish. Once upon a time, being Jewish was an impediment to social advancement. One's Jewish roots were spoken of in hushed tones. Jews changed their names and their neighborhoods in hopes of fitting in. Not anymore. Jews have gone from being the other to just another. From the first families of the nation right down to our own families, the most interesting thing to say about being a Jew or marrying a Jew in many but not all parts of the country is just how uninteresting it's become. Net, this is good, but it's a change that comes with consequences. There's a profound irony that at this very moment when it's so easy for Jews to live as Jews, so many Jews are making the decision to do otherwise, losing the hyphenated aspect of their existence. In the words of the late Professor Eugene Borowitz, Jews have become Marranos in reverse. Unlike the Marrano 15th century Spanish Jews who converted to Christianity but secretly lived Jewish lives, contemporary Jews publicly affirm our Jewish identities but choose to live lives as non-Jews. This whitening of American Jewry has fundamentally changed how we see ourselves and how the world sees us. For a very long time, Jews have been understood and understood themselves to be marginalized and oppressed, a persecuted condition that found its fullest and most horrific expression in the Holocaust. Notwithstanding the anti-Semitism from the far right as evidenced by Pittsburgh, or the hatreds emanating from the far left, for most American Jews, historic anti-Semitism and exclusion is not something experienced in the main. The Holocaust is firmly in the rearview mirror. Not only are Jews not oppressed, not only can Jews openly take pride in being Jewish, but the fact of being a contemporary American Jew puts that Jew in some of the most privileged company, not just of Jewish history, but of human history, period. Socially, economically, and otherwise, it is a very, very good thing to be born a Jew today. And while this fortuitous event is cause for celebration, it's also resulted in a sort of whiplash when it comes to identity politics of our time. In our hashtag intersectional era, where everything is polarized and everyone is labeled either an oppressor or oppressed, where do Jews fit in? How curious and troubling it is that at this very moment of fluid identities, a hardening of discourse is also taking place where people are being told to take sides in the name of ideological purity. Are Jews outsiders or insiders, vulnerable or strong, part of the solution or part of the problem? Can privileged Jews still invoke that they were once strangers in a strange land? How does such a claim sit with the rest of the world? Neither Jews nor non-Jews have quite figured out where Jews fit in to the puzzle of our post-ethnic America. Again, given the persecuted history of the Jews, it's a pretty good problem to have, but it's a problem nonetheless.